There we are. Good evening to you all. It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful evening. I, of course, am the Dungeon Delver, and tonight we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. If you've never watched one of our Let's Play live streams before, usually on 1 or 2 or 3 nights of the week, we play a classic or classic feeling tabletop role-playing game. In the month of October, we shift gears a little bit. We keep the classic, but we switch to Call of Cthulhu to bring the spooky. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. We're going to be delving into a realm of terror rather than one of science fiction or wonder. So I hope everyone is ready for a little bit of Halloween-themed goodness. And again, I apologize. It was something, OBS was not liking what I was doing very much. It was engaging in a lot of BS. So we have a good group ready to roll tonight. We're waiting on a few folks to enter the green room, and we will be starting on time this evening. So anyway, it is good to see you all. I'm glad everyone is here. Dice Tales, hello. Damien, unregistered hypercam. Maybe that was my problem. Maybe the fact that you're an unregistered hypercam. I highly doubt that. But I do love the reference, though. I do love the reference. Just want to make sure I say hello to everyone out there. Cornelius, GM Jacko, LHRPG, if I didn't say hello to you already, I feel like I did. And anyone else out there who's sitting around who hasn't said anything, wave, say hi in the chat. Sharky 1066, 2 a.m., but you're up and you're watching Call of Cthulhu, a live Let's Play. Thank you so much, Sharky. I really appreciate it. That's the kind of dedication out of my fans that just warms my heart. And folks, we're at 4932 on the old subscription count, maybe 4934. I'm not going to go digging for it right now. Hello, Orbital Air. I'm sorry if I messed this up. Is that Mal Ruffle? You tried this when someone was away from Pathfinder. It was fun. Cool. Paladin ZX. Hello to you. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad that people have... oh, the live light was off. Thank you, Vaughn, for catching that. Because we are in fact live. The camera issue threw me off. I did not expect my camera to just go to sleep, or rather, OBS to switch off. Hello, RPG Grandma. It's good to see you. Yeah, you got to do that first. The live light lives. But anyway, this is a bit of unpleasant news that I honestly wish that I wasn't bringing to you guys, but those of you who have who've been kind of following along, you know that I've been updating you guys as I can about Ernie Gygax's condition. About a half an hour ago, Heidi Gygax posted up on Facebook, and it's really not looking good for Ernie right now. Tim, hello to you. So let's put our thoughts and our prayers up for Ernie, and hope that he keeps rolling those saving throws, guys. Let's hope that he keeps rolling those saving throws, as we like to say. At any rate, so we have Call of Cthulhu happening tonight. I hope you guys are ready for that. I know I certainly am. I'm just taking a quick gander here, making sure I've got everything in order. And oh, you know, I should grab my rule book over yonder, yonder being the name of my horse. Yang Yan Zhao, greetings, good evening. One moment, please. Now, some folks were asking why it is I prefer fourth. This is just the one I started with. I actually purchased back last year, last fall, I got a copy of the reproduction of the first edition Call of Cthulhu box set from Chaosium, and I think they still have these in stock. It didn't cost terribly much. There is a 2-inch thick version that has a whole bunch of campaign supplements tucked away in it. That it's pretty spendy. It's about $120, and this one was about $49. So if you're looking to get into classic Call of Cthulhu, this is where you go. And so I don't remember who it was. Someone in the chat was asking about where can I find 4th edition on Drive-Thru RPG. You can't. If you want to play an old edition of Call of Cthulhu, you can buy that one, or you can buy the books used. They're not terribly expensive. They're about what a new modern RPG would cost you. So if you want to follow along at home and you want to go out and get yourself a copy of 4E, for whatever reason, if you don't want to support Chaosium by running out and buying the first edition repro, greetings, TJ. It's good to see you. We're all doing well. Then I would guess, hit Adall, hit Amazon, eBay, someplace like that, and you can pick this up, because it's not, again, this is not available through Drive-Thru or anywhere else as far. Are all the editions interchangeable? Yes. All of the editions up to 6th are interchangeable. 1st through 5th. 6th started to change how a lot of figure characteristics went, and then 7th, I think, is a fairly clean break, although they do provide some degree of guidance on conversion. In my humble opinion, they should have just stuck with BRP the way it was, but what do I know? So we'll be starting here in just a few minutes. I see that everyone is in the background. All you got to do is multiply the stats by 5. Oh, well, that's fascinating. I need to check something briefly. I want to see if I've got my nice chunky PDF. Also, I want to see, can you guys see this? Nope, of course not. Let me try that again. One more time. Well, dang. Let me see. Do I have... Let's try... We'll try one more time. DD Dice has been giving me a headache. There it is. Now it's working. Okay, we have our on-screen die roller. You guys will be able to follow along. To my players, give me just a couple more minutes. I want to make sure that I can get this PDF up over here. Because for some reason, I don't have it on this PC, but I haven't changed anything really since last time we played, unless it was on the other one. Let's see. But anyway, I hope you folks are all having a fine time this evening. And folks, I just want to remind you that this extremely spooky live stream is brought to you by our friends at Hellabard Games. Hellabard makes the kind of adventures they like to play. Whether it's for 5th edition, Castles and Crusades, or the OSR, Old School is in play at the table with Hellabard Games. And you can check them out on DriveThruRPG or on their website, hellabardgames.com. All right. Yes, it was last September. It was last September. And I don't have my box set handy. So I'll just have to squint and you guys will have to bear with me. So, is everyone ready for a little bit of cosmic horror? I think we are. Let me don my headphones. And I'm going to welcome in our players. You will probably recognize most of them, if not all of them, from our Friday night live Gamma World stream. So let us bid a good evening to our group of players.
Hello.
Hello, we have Doomsword there as Perry Agley. Good evening, Yang Yan Zhao as Charlton Wiggins.
Good evening, everyone.
We have Kinnick as Jane Carter.
Evening, peeps.
We have Kevin as Dalton Werner.
What's good about it?
That remains to be seen, and we are still waiting on Tonka Todd to join us. Let me just pull something up real quick so we can make sure he is all 5 by 5. I thank everyone for their patience. Let's see. I just need to find... And now we'll add him. Philip Teague, as played by Tonka Todd. Todd, are you there?
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
Excellent, excellent. It's good to see you. So, for you folks who are unfamiliar with Call of Cthulhu, it is a very role-play heavy system. It relies on percentile dice a lot in what is called the BRP, or Basic Role-Play System, introduced by Chaosium Games, which covers a wide range of role-playing games from them: RuneQuest, Stormbringer, of course, Call of Cthulhu, just to name a few. So this will be kind of talky, if you will. But I think you'll like it. So let us begin the scenario. This takes place in March of 1928 along the northeast coast of the state of Massachusetts, just north of the bustling city of Boston. America is in her prime. She is spreading her wings and straightening her shoulders. The nightmare of the trenches of the First World War are fading like an ugly dream in the past. Sure, there's a little bit of a problem with crime. Prohibition isn't a lot of fun. But at the same time, everything seems to be booming. And it is into this area around the city of Arkham that all of you former students from Miskatonic University find yourselves once again drawn. For you've received a letter from a friend, and then a letter from your friend's father shortly thereafter. The letter from your friend, a David Simmons, told you that he had made some fantastic discoveries regarding the field of astronomy, of physics, the motion of the planets. And as he closed out the letter, he said excitedly that he wouldn't be surprised if, based on his calculations, his name wasn't up there with names like Oort, Lowell, and even Newton. So all of you at your residences eagerly await whatever wonderful news this is, but it isn't until a fortnight passes and you receive a rather troubling cable from his father. You see, David has disappeared. He had taken an apartment on the outskirts of town to avoid something that his father puzzlingly refers to as light pollution, to better observe the stars away from the gas lamps and the jitney headlights and the impolitely thrust open window blinds in the center of Arkham. His father expresses that he was worried about him taking an apartment there, since it was a place noted for people of more artistic pursuits. And you knew him well enough at your time at Arkham to know that his desires for his son were to become a man of industry as he was, to work in the packing and shipping business. You won't help grow this country with your head in the clouds, he would tell his son at every opportunity, especially when the rest of you were in earshot. And for a son to have moved into a borough full of artists must have been particularly grating on him. But now, your dear friend has disappeared, and it is the detective among you who has perhaps the most skill at potentially locating him. When you arrive in Arkham and go to your friend's ancestral home, a great pile of brownstones, some rumored to have been brought over from Europe to help construct the place. His father, an imperious man who strikes a figure not unlike that of President Roosevelt, stalks back and forth in the sitting room regarding you all and says, "For whatever reason, my son regarded you all as his peers, as his equals. No, take no offense. I know that you all possess skills, most of you, in your various areas of expertise. You've done about as well for yourselves as I suppose you can. Still, I must appreciate that my son's scientific interest, at the very least, gave him a keen and focused mind, not given to flights of fancy, save for some of these recent missives from him. To think he couldn't simply pick up the telephone. He was a man of science. He should have appreciated one of science's greatest inventions, to call me, to get on a streetcar. He wanted for nothing. I let him rent that damn apartment, and although I suspect he poured dozens of dollars into those lenses and dials and brass apparatuses that he would set up on the roof at night to stare at the stars, as if I couldn't provide for him. But no, I suppose it is the duty of a father to indulge his own child's wishes from time to time, and so it was. But now, 2 weeks gone by, 2 weeks gone by, and not a peep. I sent one of my men around to his apartment, who knocked at the door and heard nothing. I got up with that useless chief of police and insisted he investigated. Do you know what he had the nerve to tell me? A man who is in no small way responsible for getting him into the position he's in. Well, he's an adult, sir. He can do as he pleases. Pah! What he pleases, or what he should please, is getting back to this house, dismissing all this balderdash about stars and alignments and movements, and get his head in the game. Do you think that baseball player Babe Ruth is able to strike that baseball with such alacrity and ferocity by staring out at the laggards and commoners in the stands? No, of course not. No, he focuses. And so whatever speakeasy or dive or trouble he's fallen into, I would at the very least hope that you, his friends, his peers, could bring him back and bring him around to his senses.
I have a question. No, to you, Bill. I got most everything, but what's the father's first and last name?
The father's first name is Caesar. Caesar Thomason. First and middle. Same as the son's last name, as far as his last name goes. So.
Right. Okay, where are we all here? Like he summoned us all?
Yeah. Basically, you're all there.
I'm pondering. See if anyone speaks up.
Mr. Thomason, you said he sent you some strange missives. What were in these missives?
Oh, yes, Charlton. Well, this you see was nonsense about the sky and so on. You pursued the things with slide rules and chemicals and test tubes and so on. I suppose perhaps this might be of some interest to you. And he hands you 3 telegrams.
What do they say?
One reads, "Father, have made some startling and possibly disturbing, at least to the scientific community, stop, discoveries. Will share my observation with the Miskatonic Peers group in the first week of April. Stop. Love to see you soon. Looking forward to going grouse hunting as soon as the weather clears. David." The next one, the next one reads, "Father, continuing to make my observations. Stop. Sorry I missed lunch last week. Stop. However, I throw myself into my work nightly and then sleep through most of the day. Stop. I know you disapprove of this part of town, but away from light pollution, the observations I can make are almost as good as those in the countryside. See you soon, David." And the third one simply reads, "I've got it. I've cracked it. It's more than I could have imagined. It just took a trip back to the university and then a night spent on Observation Hill. Stop, David."
Well, he did love his astronomy, but those are very non-specific. Did he specify what he was looking for in the heavens?
I have no idea. One of the few times that I saw him in the weeks leading up to his disappearance, he said something about, I don't know, Albuquerque. I don't know. I don't know. Give me an astronomy roll, Yang. That's going to be percentile dice. I'm going to give you a little bit of a bump on this because. So go ahead and roll that. Yeah, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to maybe see some of his notes. Try and sort something out. His dad clearly has no idea what he's talking about from a scientific standpoint.
Charlton, me to you, Yang. Is it okay if I call you Charlie? Like, we know each other, right? So do you have a nickname, or do you insist that we use that pretentious Charlton?
Well, I use Charlton at the office, but my family always called me Chuck.
Chuck, did you find anything interesting in those telegrams?
Well, I mean, David, he always did have an interest in astronomy and stars, but I mean, it was fairly nondescript. We might have to find his apartment and go check the notes.
Perhaps you'll allow me to have a look at them.
Of course.
Oh, I can give you the address of where he lived.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
You said you owned the apartments that he lived in. Could we have access to his apartment as well?
Oh, good Lord, no! I'm not a slumlord. No. He just rented the place, and I paid the rent. Certainly, gazing up at the sky through that kaleidoscope of his wasn't going to pay any rent. Dear Jane, so.
I apologize that the lady has annoyed you, Mr. Tomlinson. However, there's much research to do here. There are many clues in what you have said. Are you certain that these telegrams are authentic? And when did you receive them?
Oh, well, the dates are right at the top there, and of course they're authentic. I mean, why wouldn't they be?
Well, one must not assume too many things. Being in the business of law, as you have dabbled in yourself, certainly you understand that there are two sides to every story. I must investigate them both. So you received these on the same day?
No,
on the same day as the date. Just answer the question simply.
Yes.
Indeed. Well, it seems to me that this chief of police should be spoken to.
Well, do as you will, and I'm leaving it up to you. The police in Arkham are incompetent. I trust you as his peer group to, at the very least, try and find whatever you can.
Well, having spent time together as our group has, and remaining fast friends throughout, I have been entrusted with ensuring that under these types of circumstances where there's work involved, that Dalton sets the prices and that we all find them amicable.
Oh, I see what you're angling at. Give me, I tell you what, give me a, we're going to say, how about a credit rating roll from you there? Whoever's starting to broach the subject of money.
Right. I forget how to roll percentile dice. Is it both of these D10s?
Yeah, you just click.
I can't believe I forgot that. Okay.
No, it's okay. Oh yeah, that's well within your credit rating, and he kind of eyes you up like, do you can hear the gear works in his head, and he's probably thinking shrewd businessman, and he says, "Well, I'm sure whatever your expenses are, they're entirely reasonable. So, look, just find that fool-headed son of mine and get him turned around and tell him he needs to be back here tending to business on this earth, not in God's firmament. The Almighty will take care of what's up there."
Good, sir. I lean in. Speaking domestically, particularly having some experience in the matter myself, perhaps, forgive me to suggest it, but perhaps your son would be closer to you if you paid more heed to his hobbies. Surely I am out of place, however.
Let's see. Let's have a quick gander there at Perry's charisma and see exactly how that went over.
I don't even know if I'm good at this. But it's fun.
Wouldn't it be the persuasion, maybe?
I do have a 50% persuade.
You do have a 50% persuade. I tell you what, give me, let's see.
I didn't think this was going to take a roll.
Well, I mean, go ahead and give me a persuasion roll. Go ahead and give me a persuasion roll.
All right. Ooh, nailing them.
Okay, he kind of chews on the stem of his pipe and paces back and forth and puts his hand on your shoulder and says, "Perhaps there's something to that. Perhaps there's something to that. Of course, we deal in shipping, and those boys have to navigate by the star and the compass. Maybe that's some place that David could focus his attentions and we could come to a quorum on the matter. I'll give it some consideration. You just find my boy for me."
We shall do our best, for we are led by the best.
Thank you all, Jane and Perry, Charlton, Dalton, and of course, Philip. I appreciate you all coming out here. And again, if there's anything you need, of course, you're welcome to stay here in the home if you like. Rattling around inside the rooms as we do. Ever since the passing of poor Delia when David was but a boy. It's just me and my staff here now. And, well, I'll tell you all. Comes a time when you reach an age when you long for the comforts of home and the attendance of family and friends. And, well, if you're friends of David's, then that's good enough for me.
Well, look, Caesar, I didn't get that notice. I don't think the rest of the crew here did either regarding his investigation and information that he has on those missives you handed over. But if he's out there, we'll definitely find him. I can promise you that.
He pokes you with his pipe stem gently. Good man. Well, it's late in the afternoon. I can have Cook prepare something for supper. He's intrigued me lately and has begun to suggest that lobster, if you can believe it, common shellfish is quite the delight for dinner. And, well, if you all don't mind, I'd like to take him up on it.
You are very gracious, sir. Thank you.
Alrighty, so the rest of the evening passes. He shares the best information he can. He says that, when you all kind of parted after college, that David kept at informal studies and even talked about going back and getting a doctorate. His dad kept trying to steer him into the family business, but the harder he steered him in, the more he seemed to buck and chafe against it. So finding himself desiring to study the stars even more after a particularly fierce row one Sunday afternoon that involved matters of religion and faith and that sort of thing. Caesar's is a Methodist, and you all well remember from your college days that David was trending towards a more agnostic, if not outright atheistic mindset. He quite simply packed up his goods and went to that accursed flop house, as Caesar explains to you. So you pass a pleasant dinner, and yes, as it happens, this meal that Caesar's Italian cook refers to as lobster thermidor is quite good. There's drawn butter and lemon and a little bit of paprika sprinkled on it, and he serves it up with fresh greens, shallots, and a cream sauce, and it's wonderful. You wouldn't think that a cheap shellfish, common folk food, stuff that fishermen either use as bait or throw away, could be that good, but it is quite good. I don't know if it'll ever catch on, this lobster, but it was good for a change of pace.
I can see you're a man of great taste, and also discernment, and also imagination, for this is delicious, as I would expect from one of your stature.
Well, I have Antonio to thank for it all. Antonio, and your faithful game master can't speak Italian and won't attempt it, so he says something, and he's extra primo good, sir, and goes back in the kitchen. So, what is your next move? You have the run of the house, as it were. Caesar turns in. Is a busy day tomorrow. Work never rests. Just bring me news of my son. And of course, we have all the modern conveniences here. There's an annunciator at the end of the hall if you wish to have breakfast brought up to you in the morning.
I assume we're permitted to stay here, however, to discuss things amongst ourselves.
Of course.
Mr. Tomlinson, of course David moved out, but do you still have his old room in here?
Yes. Top of the balustrade, third door on the left.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to check it out and maybe see if he has any notes about what he was doing.
Certainly.
And I will do that.
Okay. All right. So that's what Yang. I'm sorry. That is.
My name is Chuck. You can call me Chuck.
That's what Chuck is doing. So what is Perry getting up to now?
I'd like to talk with you, friends, and discuss what our next action might be. There's much to this story, I'm sure. And it's likely that David fell into what is typical, a heroin addiction or such. But perhaps there is more to this story And perhaps there is something that Mr. Tomlinson does not want us to know.
He was definitely very keen on sending missives to all of us. So I would not think that that would be related to anything except for his interest in astrology.
We heard no mention, I happen to notice, of any return telegrams of any sort. Now, whether that's because Caesar didn't intend to contact him for personal reasons, or because he couldn't, we don't know. And the dismissiveness of the chief of police I find rather alarming. Perhaps we should talk to him. Why he would be interested in ignoring a missing persons case from someone of Mr. Tomlinson's stature is strange to me. And what of Observation Hill? Do any of you know anything about that? I tend not to leave town much.
That's a little bit of GM information I can give you guys. Observation Hill is a large flat-topped hill that is not very far removed from the Miskatonic University campus. Astronomers go out, amateur astronomers go out and set up their telescopes. Some of the fraternal orders have been known to have bonfires up there. It's essentially a just a large picnic ground, but it's called Observation Hill.
So
I believe we should also check out his apartment.
I'd like to ask if anybody else had seen any notes that he might have sent you, or maybe the university itself, as he said he had intended to send that information on. I didn't receive anything of that nature or hear about it in any way.
That's a fine point.
And I'm sorry, are you asking that of Caesar?
Well, I'm asking the party, but they're not going to have the answer. Only you will have the answer.
No. The missive about a great scientific discovery that would put him in the same category as again a Van Oort or a Lowell or a perhaps even a Newton is the only one you guys got prior to hearing from his father about him going missing.
Right, but he had sent his father a missive saying that he was going to send discovery details to the university, and we have yet to see those. How long has it been?
He was going to speak at the university. He was going to present his findings to the university in the first week of April.
Ah, I see. I misunderstood. It might be useful to go to the university and look at his studies if he had stored anything there. But
agreed.
Yeah, chances are he's probably left them in his apartment, since that's where his observation gear is.
Most likely. I'd like to know a little bit more about Observation Hill. As I said, I have not been there. But it's always a good idea to start with a base and work to the top. So I'd like to know more about that. I'd like to know more about the chief of police. And I'd like to take any suggestions you have. His apartment and the university are great choices. Perhaps there's a suit in here somewhere.
Odds are we will find pieces and have to put it together like a puzzle.
All right. So if wait, I'm sorry, Yang. You said that you were going up to look in his room.
That's right.
Okay. So Charlton goes to his room. It's it definitely looks like somebody packed kind of in haste. It's clear his father hasn't either hasn't had the fortitude or the desire to have things put back in order. The bed is made, and that's about it. There's scatterings of books and papers here and there. The curtain is closed, but I tell you what, give me let's stretch your legs here a little bit. Give me a spot hidden roll, please.
Percentile?
Yes, always percentile when I'm asking for a skill.
Gotcha.
Okay, so there's light dust on surfaces, but it just it appears at first blush to be a just a messy room. You recognize? Do you have some astronomy? Give me an astronomy roll. 30, what is that? 35. Okay, all right. You kind of take a look around, and there are some fairly common astronomy books that have been sort of knocked around a little bit. And give me another spot hidden roll, please. Okay. So you pick up a book by Van Oort called The Outer Solar System and Its Orbits. And you know that there is a folded bit of paper in the back.
I will definitely check out that paper.
Okay. It appears to be an excerpt torn from a diary or a notepad or something like that. And it reads, "Can't see a damn thing through my window." Or it's dated a couple of months ago, prior to when you got your letters from him. And it says, "Can't see a damn thing through this window. Father is adamant that I do not put one of my kaleidoscopes, as he calls them, up on the roof. Madness." Van Oort was spot on with some of his observations, but I'm looking further than even Lowell did when he discovered what that book in the Miskatonic U library calls Yuggoth. And that's where it ends. It looks like it was torn out and folded while the ink was still wet, because it's blurred. It's very readable, but it's still blurred.
So with these books, is there anything that sticks out? Like, most of his books are about astronomy, but there's one that sort of doesn't fit the pattern.
Let me see. I tell you what, give me a library use roll. That is, your target is 60 for library use. 7. Yes. Yes. You're kind of going through them, and there is a translation of a book by someone with a rather odd sounding name of Von Junt or Junst. You're not sure. Juzt. And it is titled The Outer Bodies and the Dance They Weave, translated by T.P. Sadowski, University of Warsaw.
Sorry, the outer bodies and the dance they weave.
Yes.
I would also like to toss the room to see if he's addicted to opium or heroin, or, I mean, not toss. I don't want to make the total mess, but I want to see if this has drug influence.
Okay. That's going to take a while. I mean, you know, a packet of opium could be no larger than a 50-cent piece. So you'll have to spend a while searching if you want to try and find something like that. So while you're doing that, Todd, what is Philip Teague doing right now?
Philip T is just kind of sitting off in the corner watching everyone while he eats on a bag of peanuts that always manages to stay full no matter how many peanuts he eats.
Right on. Okay, so Philip's munching on some of those Georgia peas. All right, so Charlton has kind of disappeared into David's room.
I'm sorry. What is Charlton's occupation?
Charlton's actually a scientist.
Oh, we're in good hands then.
Yes, he is. I incorrectly selected the drop down. You should not have a bachelor's of art as a scientist. It should be an MS or something like that. But
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, sorry about that. My mistake.
What about Philip? I think I know what everybody else is.
Philip. Hang on a moment. Let me get over to that tab. Come on. Philip is an historian.
Thank you.
So, well then how about Jane? What's Jane doing?
Jane is going to be talking with Perry and Dalton primarily, seeing if she can add to the plans or order that we should be investigating first.
Already. And Dalton, how about yourself?
Is there this is an era of limited communications, I assume? We're talking 20s, right? Phones, not real common.
No, I mean, in most upper middle class, phones are common. I mean, like if you want to get a hold of someone in Boston, you could send them a telegram, Western Union, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it just depends on who you're trying to get a hold of, I guess I should say.
I was hoping to maybe get communications with somebody at the university. But if I have to send a person out to do it, I'll just do it myself when we go. So I'm gonna look around and see, outside. Maybe there's areas that he's occupied, right? Look and see. I don't know if he smoked or chewed gum or whatever, but look and see if there's a spot that he used to occupy out there when he did his observations, since he couldn't use it on the roof or at his house.
Alrighty. How about then? How about well, yeah, let's have a spot hidden roll from you there, Dalton.
Okay. 43.
In the gloaming, because it is the early evening now, you wouldn't have been able to get a hold of anyone at the university at this hour anyway, probably. But in the gloaming, in the back garden, you do see one cigarette butt, and you note that on the pavers there are these on 3 pavers in a triangular shape. There are faint triangular scratches on the stones.
Okay, I'll note it in my book, and I'll look around. What area of the sky can I see from here? Southeast. Is it open enough I can see all the way around?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hedges. They're not terribly tall. There are gas lanterns here, but you have a fairly decentish view of the sky, except directly behind you, facing the south, is the manor house itself. That would be completely blocked.
Okay, I'm gonna see. I'll look for the Dipper and see if I can find in the sky Albuquerque. I know it's probably Aldebaran, so I'm gonna look and see if I can see it. If it's up yet, I assume it is, but just want to see if it's something he could look at from here.
Dalton has no astronomy.
Okay.
so
okay.
I mean, you can recognize the Big Dipper if you take like a half an hour and look around the sky.
But I wouldn't know a star name. Okay.
Right.
I get you. Sorry. Apologize for that.
No, that's okay.
I'll just take note of it and see what I see up there and, go back inside.
Okay. All right, so the evening progresses on, and Yang, you go through his belongings. That is, Charlton goes through his belongings carefully. There's a cigar box that has seashells in it, probably something from his boyhood. Give me a spot hidden check, if you would. That's percentile, of course. And wow, look at that. So actually, I'm going to have to go back to that view so people can see the die rolls. You find a little 2-inch by 3-inch chapbook of women and some men in compromising positions. This has been wedged underneath one of the slats of Dalton's bed underneath the mattress.
All right. Well, having searched the room, he will, of course, take that book as evidence and present it to. He will take that book, the translation, the outer bodies, and their dances. And he will also take the book about Yogoth, and he will. Mm-hmm.
No, I was just going to mention, you didn't find a book about that. It was only mentioned.
In the note. Sorry.
Yeah, it was just mentioned in the note.
Then he will also take the note. So the nudie book, the astronomy book, and then the note. He'll take it down and go to find the others.
Didn't find a thing, guys. All right. Okay, so you come back down. Now, while all this is going on, Perry, Jane, and Philip, you guys are basically just in the sitting room. What are you specifically doing?
I think we were just basically conversing, and if things pass uneventfully, then I must bid you my adieu. I shall turn in for the night. I believe I've had a bit too much wine.
All right. So Perry turns in. It's right about that time that Charlton comes out. He's got a book in his hands. And you're there. There's the rest of the group there. They're one of those setting room type balcony affairs. When you have a big broad staircase, it'll go up. It's just like, hey, we should put a divan and a couple of chairs and an ottoman here. And there's 3 of your friends.
So he is gonna grab himself a drink, which I assume they have decanters of stuff in every room.
Oh yeah, there's a sideboard with claret.
And he'll address the group. I searched David's room, and unfortunately, I found some interesting things. Most of it was about astronomy, but I found this book. And then he'll show the nudie book, and he'll say, I'm a little worried about David. Mr. Tomlinson said that it was frequented by artists. I'm afraid he has women of ill repute there.
Surely you don't let Jane catch sight of that, do you?
No. He'll turn his back to Jane and sort of open it up and show the other guys and quickly close it again.
Okay. Yeah, you guys get it. And it is, as someone mentioned, Robert Phillips, thank you. It is a Tijuana Bible. It's basically just a small, thick little book full of very grainy photographs of various forms of corn with a C. YouTube, we're talking about, you get it in a can, it's frozen, fresh off the cob corn.
Yeah, yes. Philip chokes on his peanut once he sees the fancy show.
Ooh. Okay.
And in addition, there was this note where he was talking about further views, and he mentions a book that he found in the Miskatonic Library about a Yoggoth. Does anybody know what a Yoggoth is?
Would Philip know what a Yoggoth is?
Well, let's see. That's a fine question. Philip, give me an occult roll.
Oh,
that's percentile.
And this is where things went horribly wrong.
Yeah, Philip has no idea. Give me that nudie book, racks the shotgun. It's a little reference to last year's COC game. I'm just teasing Todd a little bit.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, not again.
Not again. Okay, so no, you no idea.
Did it? Okay.
Anyone else? Anyone else wish to question him about the books or anything?
I'm not in there, right? So no.
Well, for convenience sake, we'll say that you've come up the stairs now. You made your observations outside. You're back up.
Did I go to bed before he came back, or did I meet him? I mean, is this
you all kind of converged? You stood up and were like, "Well, I'm afraid I must turn in." Oh, look, it's Carlton, and there's Dalton.
So, Chuck, have you found anything else interesting? I assume as your position as a man of science, you would be quite aware if anything was amiss.
Well, he was quite interested in astronomy, but
Wasn't that one of your minors?
oh yes, if it wasn't for David, I couldn't have passed astronomy. But I found this book. Seems like he was interested in things out past the Oort cloud in the far ends of the solar system.
I've heard talk of this solar system and of theories. Such do not interest me, but I'll take your word for it, as I always have.
He often talked about the stars and things that could be in space, but I always thought he was a little bit drunk.
Well, to be fair, he was a little bit drunk on a number of occasions, but that is another matter. So, no information of use.
Well, not yet. I am curious about this book, what a Yogoth is. Perhaps at some point we'll get to the library, but I think you were right earlier when you said it's best to search his apartment.
Well, someone did suggest the apartment. I suggested the library, and perhaps we should split up and search these things. The library, the local newspaper. I did not keep up on current affairs in this area. I have too much to do, and usually people come to me after the problem has occurred. The chief of police and the university. I believe those are our paths.
I will gladly go research at the library to find out about this Yogoth character.
I would be willing to go to the apartment.
I'm quite familiar with the police, and I should be able to talk to them if you think that's useful.
Jane, I don't think it's safe for you to go unaccompanied. I will go with you to the apartment.
Thank you.
Then I shall go to the newspaper.
Of course, we're not doing that now, are we? I mean, I guess I could go to the police station right now, but
No, it's,
You could.
I'm betting the
I'm
chief isn't
sleeping.
going to be there.
yeah,
It's rather late, and I'm looking forward to the breakfast. Wonder if they can put lobster in the eggs.
I hid my aversion to seafood, mind you.
Alrighty, so pardon me, didn't make my voice to crack. So you all retire for the evening. The house is quiet, it's comfortable. Only once during the evening do you think, as you're all drifting off, do you think maybe you hear a faint train whistle, but it's so far away, it's barely louder than the sounds of an owl or something like that. You drift off and you awaken the next morning. Good as his word, Caesar has left for work. He has left information with you. Call KL 545 if you find out any information about my son. There's a good breakfast being served. There are poached eggs, herring, just some good standard breakfast fare. So, who is going where?
I'm going to the newspaper. Perry is.
Okay.
I think Charlton and Jane are going to head to the apartment, I believe.
Okay, then that leaves Philip and Dalton.
Yeah, I'm going to the police.
And
Okay.
I'm going to go to the library.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, we will start then. I think So Perry, what specifically are you looking for on your leg of information? You say.
Yeah, so I'd like access to the newspaper archives.
Of course.
Is that freely given?
Pertaining to what, sir?
Well, there's an Esquire after my name, and my research is my privilege. I'm afraid it's attorney-client privilege, if you understand. Just a few small matters, nothing that would implicate the newspaper, of course. I'm a man of ethics and morals, you know.
Of course, sir. I'm entirely sure you are. Give me a persuade roll. Just 51. He kind of hems and haws and says, well, usually I would direct you to the Miskatonic Library or someplace like that, sir, but I suppose so. He opens up the little Dutch fence type thing and says, this way. It's a little distressing because when you reach a door, he picks up an electric torch and goes
back.
All right. He opens the door and clicks it on and says, stay close to the wall, sir. And they haven't gotten the electric lights in here, and the fire marshal recently told us that the gas lamps and amongst all these clippings might be a bad idea. So I have
to see you're a gentleman and a scholar.
All right. So down into the basement you go, and that smell of old newspaper, it just wafts right up. You have you've been in similar circumstances before. He leads you to a desk far off in the corner and says, you can sit here, and well, these are our back issues, and they're organized. It's not just like heaps and piles or anything like that. He said, but he says he reaches over and clicks on a little green hooded lamp on the desk and says, we do have a little bit of electricity down here, fortunately. So what are you looking for specifically? Oh yeah, you said it was attorney-client privilege.
Indeed it is, and I would appreciate if you don't let anyone know that I was here. Do I have like a 5 spot or something I can slip this guy?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're an attorney, so sure. Yeah, you basically give him like a day's pay, and his eyes bug out of his head, and he's yes, sir. You just let me know if you need anything else. You actually have to go back across the archives with him because he has one flashlight, and then you navigate.
Handoff.
Yeah, you navigate your way back. Jorge, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. So you wend your way back over and start looking. What are you looking for?
Specifically, if I can, primarily what I would look through for expediency for the character would be like the last week or so of article papers, the main stories and stuff like that, and headlines to see if anything's involved with Tomlinson. And then I'd like to look back a little earlier and see if I can find out anything about Observation Hill in terms of any events that have occurred with regard to that individual or that place.
Okay. Vaughn, rest assured, Cannock's fine. She just had to dip out and add a lovely avatar. Okay, so give me a library use roll. It's all going to hinge on the library use.
All right. Let's see what I've got for that. I've got a 60.
Mm-hmm. Your library use is actually better than your law.
Yeah,
Okay.
nice.
You are able to. So yeah, I mean the recent newspaper archives, you've actually got to tramp all the way back over. There's, I mean, the major headlines are, early spring storm spell bust for fishermen. Miskatonic U baseball team enters practices. There's not a whole lot on that. Now, as far as information about Observation Hill, that is. Give me another library use roll for Observation Hill.
59.
Yeah,
I have a 60.
It takes you a while. One of the more interesting things you find out is apparently, and you actually have vague recollection of this because this occurred just before you entered college, but a few years ago there was a tribe of Native Americans who were quite upset about the ongoings that went on at Observation Hill. They claimed that it was a sacred land, sacred ground. It was significant to them. But I mean, that's really the only thing you find of note. There's kind of a bit of scandal when a group of Miskatonic plebs were basically they were caught up there with drink of a licentious nature. And essentially what you extract from it is that some frat boys were up there with bathtub gin about 2 or 3 years ago. And that's really about all you find on Observation Hill.
That's a huge score because I was so hoping it was an Indian burial mound.
Okay, so that takes you a while. That's not just like run over, grab a newspaper, boom.
Sure.
In the time it took us to talk. So you're spending that time. Charlton, your goings on. Tell me what you are up to right now.
Well, Jane and I are at the apartment.
You have taken a car to the apartment. It is far on the other side of Arkham, and it is far too long to walk in this chill, cloudy, drizzly March weather. So, you hire a car, it sets you back a princely 80 cents. Right, you're gonna have to bill old Caesar for that one. So you are there. It is a narrow little brownstone flat. You and Jane standing like with your arms outstretched could almost span the width of the front of this building, at least. There's a narrow set of stairs right in the front door that goes up, and sitting on the stoop, looking rather dour, is a fellow. He's got a kind of a disheveled look about him, a floppy, water-soaked fedora. He's basically sitting under the stoop, barely staying out of the rain. And he kind of regards you. this side of the street appears to be all tenement type buildings. The far side of the street looks to be businesses. There's something on the far side of the street. It's Casilda's Art Gallery. It's you note that there's a for rent sign in the window, but you can still see a few easels and whatnot there. Otherwise, it's just fairly nondescript. Some places are shuttered up. There's a pawn shop, Paun spelled, with the three brass globes hanging out of it next to that. Just some general businesses, and it's late enough in the day that there's a trolley goes clanging by. What do you wish to do?
So the guy in the fedora is not David, correct?
The guy in the fedora is not David, no.
Okay.
Hey, it's David. You found him. Game over. Thanks for watching, everyone. No, it's not David.
So is he standing, just to be clear, is he standing in front of the door to David's place, or?
He's sitting on the stoop. You will have to half step over him to walk to the door and knock or open.
Sir, do you happen to live here?
He kind of raises one red-rimmed eye and looks at you and says, "Yeah, so let me tell you, the funny thing is, the landlord here is, he's a jackass. And if you'll pardon my language, madam. And so basically, he wouldn't take my advance from my bank, which is in Boston, and I told him it would take a day to wire my lease on my home here to him. And so essentially, while this financial and legal matter becomes disentangled, I am currently stationing myself here, waiting for that situation to become less onerous. And as such, I find myself in need of trolley fare, so that I may return to my other residence to acquire the paperwork regarding this matter, so that I may gain back into my domicile. May I please have a dime?" And he holds it. He's got the fingerless knit gloves and is holding out a shaky palm. And if you brush up against him, I may have to make you make a save versus poison.
So Charlton is he's gonna take a dime.
Okay.
Out of his coin purse, and he's gonna sort of hold it in front of the guy and say, "We're looking for our friend, David Thomason. Do you know where he is?"
Yeah, David Thomason and I, of course, are great colleagues, and I was just saying to David the other day, should any good friends of yours come my way, I will most certainly make sure that any funds that they might owe you will be safely delivered to you. So perhaps there is some matter of further monies between you and my good friend David.
Well, unfortunately, there are not. But if you could help us get into his apartment, I certainly would be willing to help you out with your transportation needs, holding the dime.
I see. Well, you must understand that I am come a cropper with the owner of this property, so at the moment I am not permitted due to legal circumstances.
Uh-huh.
But I could perhaps provide an alternate method of entry for, again, fees and considerations.
All right. Find this alternative, and we'll go in with you.
Oh, of course. If you will accompany me down this boulevard here. He's pointing down an alley. There's trash cans and, wooden crates and that sort of thing.
Is that where
Right.
the fire escape is?
Yes, it is.
He'll say to Jane, "Walk behind me."
I certainly will do so.
All right. So you have the zigzag fire escape up the side of the building, and this fellow is just watching your hand with the dime in it.
Lead on, good sir.
But of course, so we must, lest we disturb and cause any further troubles. Let me see here. I'm going to make some dice rolls for this guy. By the way, I hope players in the audience, I hope you guys are enjoying this.
Love it.
All right. So
Before he wanders off, I will ask him to point out which window is David's.
I we never looked out the. He was a fellow to stay indoors, and we never really considered that. No. He climbs up on a garbage can. Clang, clang. There is a metallic shriek as he drags the fire escape down. This is not quiet at all. The ladder unfolds and bangs on the pavement and says, "At your stealthful disposal, my friends."
Did anybody see that? Like, other people looking? Yeah, people peering in the alley.
Yeah, there's a window that opens up on the building across the alleyway from this one, and there's a woman leaning out. She's like, she yells down, "Cheese and crackers! What's all the noise? What are you, stupid? You making all that noise?"
Charlton will say to him, "Good sir, you are very drunk and you shouldn't be back here. Go find your way to get sober." And he'll slip him the dime as he pushes him out of the alley.
That dime, the vanishing coin trick? Well, this time it's the hand that you put it in that vanishes, because as soon as he's got that dime, you feel unclean because his hand closes on yours, and he has gone out of that alley. Whether he's going to buy food, whether he's going to buy a cheap bottle of aftershave to filter through a roll, you don't know. He's gone. So you have the fire escape before you. Let me see.
I hand a handkerchief to Chuck and say, "You may want to use this and wash the soonest that you can."
I appreciate it. And he'll wipe his hand on it and on his vest. And
Okay. Charlton, give me an idea roll. Now, I know you might not see that under your investigator skills, but it is under your characteristics. So you have a 90% chance of success on this. It's an idea roll.
Idea roll. All right.
Easy peasy. It comes to you that if your friend was observing the stars and he was working, with telescopes and whatnot, he probably didn't live on the first or second floor. He was probably up on the third floor.
All right. Is the old lady, the cheese and crackers lady, still looking at us?
No, she just shakes her head and closes the window.
All right, then he will start up the ladder and eventually offer his hand down to Jane to help her up.
Okay. You guys mount the ladder. You head up, and there is you're in front of a window.
What is in on the third floor? What's in the window?
A shade that is pulled.
Is there only the one window?
Yes, these are very cheap apartments.
Can I hear anybody in there?
You cannot.
Well,
Why don't
I
you
guess
try the window to see if it's unlocked.
good idea. And he'll try to open it properly without destroying it first.
All right. What? Without destroying it first. I know to make that distinction. So let's see. We're gonna actually. You know what? Roll your luck. Let's see. Let's see if David locked that window. David Tomlinson, is he a? What is your luck score? Let's see. I think that's darn close. Your luck is 65. It sticks for a minute, and you're like, Christ, it's latched. But then you give it another pull, and it slides up. So you now have access. We're going to pause right there on your scene, and we're going to come over, and we're going to say, Dalton, what are you doing?
I'm assuming I took a car to the police station.
Yes.
And I'm going to walk in the door. I'm going to go to the clerk desk and I say, Bob, I need to talk to the chief. And listen, don't talk to me about it. Just go get him.
Okay, that is absolutely unquestionably going to be a fast talk roll. So that's, let me see. I'll tell you what, I'll let you add persuade and fast talk. So let's see if you can bowl this guy over.
84.
Absolutely not.
I was like, look.
Oh, this is about talking to the chief, Mac.
Well, I got to talk to the chief about a private matter. It's going to be a problem if I don't talk to him. Just get me connected up here so I don't have to waste anybody's time. I'm not leaving.
He draws himself up and leans down because it's a desk. It's the typical police desk, and leans down and squints at you and says, "You listen to me, Mac. You want to see somebody? You can fill out some paperwork." He pushes a clipboard at you. Or you can sit down over there. There'll be no seeing the chief. Not for the likes of you. Not right now.
That's how it's going to be, huh?
That's how it's going to be.
Yeah, I see. So I'm going to take the clipboard and I'm going to throw it on the floor in front of him. Then I say, you sure that's how it's going to be? I know your chief. I worked here before you. Now, I don't know if I know the chief or worked there before.
Okay. Let's see. All right. I mean, if you want that to have been part of his background, because I was pretty sketch on the background. Do you
Well, I
want to?
figured he was pretty pleased because he's a PI now, and
Okay.
so
All right.
that
Arkham is a fictional place in Massachusetts, north of Boston. Vaughn. Okay. He looks over at a couple of other. They heard the clatter. Clancy, Danaher, let's take this fella to see the chief.
well, there's a gentleman for you.
You are very quickly surrounded by three big Irish cops.
Okay.
And they're cracking their knuckles. You want to see the chief, do you? Well, I think the chief is currently given an inspection of the holding cells. Why don't you come with us? We'll take you right to him.
I don't think I will. And I'll make sure they don't grab my hand if they try to grab it.
Okay.
I'll say, Mr. Tomlinson isn't really happy with you guys, and I was asked to come here to just have a polite discussion. I just don't have time to deal with all the typical hassles I get when I come in here.
Give me another persuasion roll, and that's you name drop Tomlinson, so that may do it.
38.
38. All right, he backs down a little bit and he says, "So you're working for Boss Tomlinson, are you?"
Yeah, I have a matter that's quite important to him, and I need to find out what's going on here. I could just tell him to come back down here himself. I know he really likes you guys.
Now you listen to me, you little 2-bit floor flusher. There'll be no need for that. If you wanted to speak to the chief and you were here on Boss Tomlinson's business, you should have said so first thing. Wait here. I'll go get the chief. He leaves, comes back, and basically there's the newer model, or older model as the case may be, and he looks you up and down and goes, I can't do a good Victor McLaughlin from The Quiet Man, so just imagine. Right, what's all this then?
Look, Chief, I just come down here and I'm trying to find out what the deal is with the missing persons case for Tomlinson's son. And I'll look over at the two other guys. I assume they're still standing there, right? I'm like, hey, how you doing? And I try to shuffle by them so I could kind of get face to face with the chief without them surrounding me.
Okay.
And I say, he's really miffed that there's not been any action on this, and has asked me to personally help him and figure out what's going on. So instead of having him come down here, I just figured I'd come and have a chat with you guys and figure out what to do.
Now, see here. You know as well as I do that weedy spawn of his is probably laid up with a dose in some flop house down in Boston. He'll show up sooner or later. I tell you what, though, do give me a fast talk roll.
All right.
I really should have plowed your persuasion or your fast talk into persuasion, but
22.
All right. He kind of debates this, scratches his chin, eyes you up, and says, "If it'll get Boss Tomlinson off my back, leave me and my men enough time to do our jobs instead of going looking for some spoiled rich boy, I'll give you all I've got."
That's all I'm asking for. I don't need your help. I mean, I know you guys got better things to do.
You're talking to his back as he's
okay.
Comes back a few minutes later, and he's got a manila envelope, and pap, there. Now, you want to go off and play policeman? That's on you, not me.
Sure, bub. That's all good. Thanks for this. I'll let you know what happens. And
I'll
do
that.
I'll back out, smiling, of course. I don't smile until I turn around.
Okay. Yeah, they're hate staring you. Okay. Let's go over finally, and let's talk, of course, to Philip Teague. Philip, you are where?
I am going to the library.
Okay. Are you going to the main public library in Arkham, or are you going to the university library at the Miskatonic University?
Oh, I'm going to Miskatonic University, baby.
Okay. Feels good to be back on campus. You know, the upperclassmen, the underclassmen. It's good to be back. So you head to the library, and wouldn't you know it, Mr. Sampson, the head librarian, recognizes you. Philip Teague, as I live and breathe, how wonderful to see you again. What brings you back to these ivied halls?
A bit of curiosity, really. A friend of mine is trying to publish the fact that cave people knew of astrology. Laughable for sure. I'm just wondering if we have any books where I could align certain dates with things in the sky. Anything of note historically.
An astronomical guidebook you're looking for. Yes, well, as I do recall, we have a rather extensive section on that. Of course, come with me, lad, right this way. So, yeah, he takes you. You're quite welcome, Robert. He walks with you. He wants to know how you're doing. You know, it's your graduation treatise on histories is still stored in the Sphere Library. Underclassmen refer to it, although I'm supposed to keep that bit of information under wraps. The university regents, of course, fear that you might come back and demand royalties for it. If you can believe. Well, here we are, the astronomy section. Please make yourself at home, and if you need anything at all, feel free to ask me. Philip, it is truly an honor to see you again. I must attend to my duties. And he heads back to the main desk where he will organize and collate for the rest of the day. So this is, you're basically trying to correlate stuff less than you're trying to make an astronomical observation. So give me some library use. That is going to be D percentile, please.
All right, my library use is 75 because Philip knows about books, yo.
So I'm seeing a 31. Wait, is that 31 or is that does that count as a 10 on the die roller? It doesn't matter. You're still good. It does count as a 10, but it's good for me to know that. Okay, so you go through the book. I mean, the books are organized alphabetically. It doesn't, getting the right books and looking at the information. So tell me, the dungeon master. Oh my gosh. Sorry. It all just kind of seeps out of the books into my head, folks. Tell me, the keeper, what specific information you're looking for here.
Okay, I'm trying to cross-check the nights that he made the entries of the objects in the sky to what would actually be in the night sky.
Okay. So you've gotten the books and you're sort of putting things together. Again, you're not Yeah, it's not. Again, you're not trying to make astronomical observations. Let's have a gander at your character sheet.
Because what I'm thinking is if there's like a comet that comes by every so often, if there's some kind of anomaly that's reported in the skies of history or whatever, and that maybe that's what he was seeing is what Philip's thinking.
Okay, I'm going to give you this. You're able to collate this data. Are you recording it somehow?
Yes, with a pad and pencil.
Okay. All right. So you're taking this information down. You think that maybe possibly Charlton might be the better bet. It's not. Yeah, you can absolutely correlate dates to things, but do they form a pattern? That's really, you'd have to put your head together with Charlton. So it does bear fruit. You do get data, but
Okay.
it's refining that information that's going to be a little bit outside of your field, since it's not precisely history. Is there anything else you wish to look up while you're in the library?
Yes, I would like to look up any books on Yoggoth. Yoggoth. How do you say his name?
Yuggoth.
Yoggoth. Yes, good old Yoggoth. Just like Mom used to make.
Okay. There, the Y section and the card catalog. You know what? I want to give as much verisimilitude as possible. Bear with me.
This episode brought to you by the Dewey Decimal System, coming to libraries all over the world.
Okay. So yes, it has. I mean, it was developed in the late 1880s. So yes, you have this wonderful data collation system, the Dewey Decimal System. So you're able to look through. You check all the Y cards you can find, and that takes a good chunk of the afternoon. But you're not finding anything referencing Yuggoth.
Okay. On my way out, I'll stop and talk to Sam again, and I'll ask him if he's heard of this Yoggoth character.
Okay, let's see. Yuggoth, you say? I can't say as I've seen anything. Where did you hear such a preposterous name at?
Oh, somebody brought it up, talking of an ancient deity or something to do with the local something. I was just once again curiosity. You know what it did to the cat.
Oh, yes. Quite. No, I'm rather afraid that particular name eludes me. I couldn't be of any help with that. So, how long are you in town for, old man?
Oh, for a while at least, and you and I must go out and enjoy a beverage at some point in time.
I insist upon it. Caroline will be thrilled to find out that you are once again walking our fair cobbled streets, and I look forward to seeing you again. You there, that volume doesn't... You must pardon me. He goes over and is gently accosting a student about putting a book back in the right place.
Yeah. After Philip grabs his information, he's going to head back to the house to rendezvous with the others.
Okay. So let's go all the way back. Perry, is there any more information that you are looking for in the tombs?
No, sir.
Okay. Where are you going after this? You've spent, I'd say you started in the morning, so it's probably early mid-afternoon. Do you check your pocket watch? Yes, it's 1:45.
Yeah, back to the domicile, the manse or whatever.
Okay.
You know, I figure that's our rendezvous.
All right. Charlton, yourself, and Jane, you pull the shade up and you step into a dusty, small room that its compactness defies easy description. And I hate to make a modern pop culture reference, but we've all seen the Blues Brothers, right? I think that's a law where Steph is from, that she has to watch the Blues Brothers at least once a year. But you guys remember the... oh, thank you, Vaughn. Thank you very much for the super. H.P. Lovecraft, look him up, absolutely. This is basically the size of Elwood Blues' apartment in the Blues Brothers. It is just wide enough for an uncomfortable looking bed. There is a single burner gas cooking range, a sink, a closet just opposite the window, and a nightstand next to the bed. Every square inch, like you have to, when you step in, you're immediately confronted with a knee-high wall of books that you have to navigate around and through. He was truly living rough.
Well, Charles will, seeing the condition, he is going to start searching for more drugs and pornography.
Okay. You do not find any more corn, nor do you find any drugs. Give me a library use roll, please. Okay, the books are arranged just so. They're not haphazard stacks. They are by subject, and that, you know, like this stack is all orbital mechanics. This stack is all planetary studies. This stack is, and then they are organized like alphabetically by title. So he didn't just pile this stuff in there.
Are there any notebooks or notes or maps?
Lots and lots and lots. Pinned to the wall are rudimentary sky maps. There are dates next to certain observations. There is one that is like it's like it was torn out of a notebook, just a piece of paper torn out of a notebook and stuck up next to a much more formal sky map with some information. Give me an astronomy roll. No idea. Just a bunch of numbers, but then underneath it, there's a line that looks like it maybe connects to a line on the formal map, but it's just very crudely drawn in red ink, and a point that has been scribbled that is circled, and underneath it says Eureka. A couple of exclamation points, but you're not at all sure what those numbers mean.
Charlton will turn to Jane and say, "What do you make of this?"
I'm going to look at it and say, well, we certainly should write it down and take it with us, perhaps. I don't know if we can take it off of the wall or we should leave it and just make notes.
It's a good idea to make some notes of the original shape, but I think we should take it back with us.
Okay.
So
I
you're
have
gonna-
a chance to figure out what it means before we move it?
Do you have any astronomy? You don't, so no.
I do not. Okay.
Nope. No idea. Let's see. So yeah, you search around the books. Like I said, there's the closet. Anything else you'd like to look at?
Yeah, if there's any books that don't correspond to astronomy, especially if he has that Yogoth book here.
You don't see a book titled that. Give me a spot hidden roll, please. $29. Let's see. And your spot hidden?
Where was it?
Your spot hidden. I've got your character.
60.
Okay. Yeah. Once again, wedged away, you see a slim book with a light-colored binding.
I will pull it out and point it to Jane.
Okay. This book is it's hardbound, but it seems almost ridiculous that it's hardbound for how few pages it seems to have in it. It's fairly lightweight. The kind of cheap, actually, cloth or canvas binding on it is sort of a pale gold color, and debossed on the front are the words, "The King in Yellow, a Tragedy in 2 Acts."
Curious. Why don't you open it?
Should we do it here or wait for the others?
Probably wait for the others would be best. Is there any equipment around too?
Yeah. Well, you don't see any sitting out in the room. Both of you guys can give me an idea roll. Yeah, so you think if it's not sitting out here, and it hardly can, enough. Good Lord. Then perhaps in the closet.
Charlton will open the closet.
Okay. Shoved like crammed into one side and then sort of tied off with a belt so it doesn't occupy any more space are suits, shirts, pants, that sort of thing. There's a couple of pairs of shoes. Folded standing up is an extremely ornate, heavy, and expensive looking telescope with its tripod.
I will grab that.
Yes, I think we should definitely take it back with us for safekeeping.
That you will grab that. Well, it's about 8 inches around and 4 feet long. It's made of brass and glass, obviously. The legs are of hardwood, and they end in little triangular feet designed to, kind of sit into wood. This thing probably weighs about 50 pounds. It is not a grab and take. It is a pick up and shuffle out with.
It's not in a case?
No, it's not.
Okay.
There are leather caps on each end of it, probably to protect the objectives.
Well, he will. He'll do that. He's a young guy. He's got some strength left in him.
Okay. Both of you guys give me a spot hidden check. Guys, spot hidden checks.
Mine rolled a 33.
And mine was a 21.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Now there it comes. Okay. So as you guys are moving this, you bump one of the pairs of shoes. You notice there's a lot of mud caked on it. It's sort of a like a sandy mud, like a beigeish yellow.
Imagine this might be from that hill that they were talking about.
Yeah, could be. Could be.
Yeah, it's possible.
Alrighty. So you have the telescope. You have the book.
And we'll take the sky maps as well.
Okay.
That are
And
on
you
the wall.
You unpin the sky maps. Give me an idea roll, please, Yang. And all right, let's see. Need to rename those. Whoops, that's Jane. Yeah, you're kind of shuffling around. You're like maybe going out through the fire escape carrying this thing wouldn't be the best of ideas.
We can go through the door and just lock it behind us.
I think that's a good idea.
All right. So you begin to make your way out, and either of you give me a luck roll, please.
All you, Jane.
Great. Yeah, not
And-
so lucky.
Jane's luck is
50.
Oh, yeah. So you guys open the door, and standing there in an undershirt, suspenders, which are just kind of hanging down, is a short, swarthy fellow with a cigar stuck in his teeth who regards you both and says in a thickly accented Germanic voice, "What the hell do you think you're doing? What is the meaning of this? You're stealing from one of my tenants? Who are you? I should call the police."
Hello there, sir. My name is-
999, do not hello there, sir, me.
My name is Charlton. Our friend David Tomlinson lives here. He asked us to go to Lookout Hill, I think it was called.
I do not know this Lookout Hill. I know Tomlinson. He is a tenant. These are his belongings. I helped him carry this up from the car myself and about broke my back. What is the meaning of this?
We're going to the hill tonight, and we are going to make some astronomical observations. He's very close to making a big discovery. I don't know. Did he tell you he's going to give a lecture at Miskatonic University soon?
Let's see. You have a persuade, so you better roll it because he's kind of giving you a gimlet eye.
Oh, that's not going to be good.
Oh
No, that's 8.
Yeah, that's
That's
gonna be
Oh, that's
great.
8? Oh, that's perfect.
He kind of looks at you up and down and says, "It is so Very well. If this is important for his work, but you tell him rent is due next week. All of his checks from his father cash, but rent is rent. You let him know I have said this.
Absolutely, sir. Sorry to disturb you.
No. Here, you will break your back with this. Come, let me help you. And he actually...
Oh, I couldn't impose.
Nine. This breaks, and he spends his money on that instead of paying me my rent. I consider it an investment. So down the stair you go, and leaning against a lamppost is your guide from earlier. As soon as the door opens, he sets the tripod down and goes, "And you! I have told you! You're not getting back into this building again! He like grabs the tripod like he's going to brain the guy with it. In a staggering run, he heads up the street. Mein Gott in Himmel! Anyway,
Who was that fellow?
He was a tenant here 3 years ago. He was a steady fellow. And he attended the university. How old do you think he is? You think he is perhaps 30? 25? 9. He's 22. He goes to university, studies, I don't know what. Comes home one night crying, full of despair. He tells me things he sees, terrible books he has read. It's not a business of mine. I only ask for rent on time, and that rooms are kept clean and tidy. In this land where there's a prohibition, he still finds money for drink, but not money for my rent. I throw him out. Let him go to Salvation Army. Let him go sleep in YMCA.
You don't happen to remember any of those books, do you? Any of the things that he said he saw?
9. He was probably on the opium.
Yeah, I've heard all sorts of things about people on opium.
Very bad news.
All right. So, you guys hail a taxi?
I think so, yeah. This thing's pretty big.
All right. Okay, so you head back, and unless anyone else has any specific things that they'd like to do, you all reconvene back at the house. You have this strange book, the star map, the notes, the information that Philip gathered. Dalton, you've got a little bit of information from the chief, and Perry, of course, you have your critical info with about Observation Hill and so on and etc.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what you guys do to concatenate this stuff.
Well, I suppose we all get back together in the common area that we were using sort of as our conference room, for lack of a better word, which I guess would be the sitting room, and discuss what we found.
Okay. Give me an astronomy roll, if you would, please, Charlton. You are taking the information now. Todd, I'm assuming you share the information from the library with everyone.
Yes.
An 05, that is an absolutely critical success. So you unfold the map, and when he's telling you these dates and positions and everything like that, if you put that random piece of paper and follow it, you realize those hastily scrawled numbers are minutes and seconds of longitude and latitude. And you know exactly, precisely, he was actually looking at Aldebaran. He discovered something about Aldebaran. It does take you a good piece of the evening to put that together. Meanwhile, Dalton, there's not much on him in there, and it seems to you that there are a few that there are a few personal effects, like maybe the police went and searched his apartment. There's like a few unused trolley tickets. There's 5 unused trolley tickets. There's some notes, room in disarray, piles of books everywhere. Funny map thing on wall. No illicit alcohol, no firearms, no sign of struggle, although difficult to tell. But also tucked in amongst these odds and ends of things that this guy apparently collected, and there is a listing underneath that of loose items, items of note, grocery list, 3 canceled rent checks. This place cost like $11 every other week, and given how small your friends tell you it was, that figures. Business card portrait studio. And I will put this back in the private chat. So you see that there, and you know what? I can absolutely share this with the audience too. Let me throw this in here. I spelled portraiture right. So that is those are the bits of information that you have gotten.
All right, I'll share it with the group, and I'll say I don't really think that this chief and his people did too much work trying to find this kid. So
it did not seem that way. I've been involved with many investigations,
and they're not the friendliest of people. So might have to see if there's individuals that we could speak to and that maybe were in part of it, more than trying to get the information from the top.
That name on that business card, by the way, is the name of the studio that was across the street from David's apartment building. That Jane and Charlton, when you guys see that,
yeah, we would recognize that.
Yeah, you would recognize it.
So it sounds like we might have to go back there for another clue, but across the street.
Okay, this is taken most of the day, but you guys have kind of started to sort of put this information together. David was very interested in some kind of astronomical data that you now realize, like when the next best observation time will be, and you've gotten some information. It is now the evening. What do you guys wish to do? A supper is served Caesar is interested in finding out. He kind of grunts in agreement and appreciation with you, Perry, about the. I'm sorry, Dalton, about the relative ineffectiveness of the police. And yes, well, I imagine those Irish down there probably gave you a hard time, didn't they?
Well, they tried, but yeah, I straightened them out. But I gotta tell you, sir, this doesn't look good. They just don't care, and I can't figure out why.
I've got a few suspicions myself. I'm thinking perhaps a grease sump has begun to dry out and certain gears require a little bit more oiling. That's the way it works around here, young man. You know, that's business in America. You have to cross palms with silver sometimes. 30 pieces. And he kind of crosses himself every now and again. At any rate, it sounds like you are all pretty fruitful in your labors today, and I suspect that you're honing in on where that ne'er-do-well, head in the clouds son of mine might be holed up.
Remember what we discussed.
Of course. I'm not going to drag him out behind the woodshed and go after him with a hickory stick. My old man did, and I turned out just fine. But I understand this generation today. They dance the jazz bow songs. They listen to the radio. They watch the movieolas. And I ask you, what of it? It's the collapse of society. It's coming soon. I tell you, mark my words.
Well, I'd kick the hell from him myself.
I blame this on Hoover.
That writer's words down in my book.
Mr. Thompson, the landlord was very cognitive of the fact of receiving the rent on time. Just to note.
Oh, the little Hun? Yes, I made sure that David's rent got paid. Yes, he's quite the unctuous fellow. He cashes my checks fairly quickly. Still can't believe that David would go to such an awful place. You know, if it was... I'd have built him his own observatory if I had but known. At any rate. Well, dinner will be served at 7. I believe we're having something a little bit more stick to the ribs. I asked for a pot roast tonight, and I hope everyone's
Sounds delightful.
Famished.
And thirsty.
He takes you by the arm, Jane. He offers you his arm and walks in, but not you, my dear. You're perfect just the way you are. So, yeah, it's much the same as it was the previous night. Some polite conversation over dinner, unless you guys have any probing questions that you would like to ask him.
None from me. No, what's the plan? We go to Observation Hill. When is that? Or do we have another plan?
That's actually the dates you guys are able to figure out with Philip's data and Charlton's concatenation. That's actually a few days off yet.
Well, do we have any plans, folks? I have many notes to pour over.
Well,
I have my own suspicions.
we can go to Quesadilla's portraits and sculpture.
Yes.
Indeed.
Also, there was a fairly odd fellow outside who he looks like he's in his 40s, but he's only 22. He went to the university and was complaining of strange things. He was hanging outside of David's apartment, and I wonder if he knew David.
Well, perhaps we send Dalton to rough him up a bit, eh?
Oh, I I'm pretty used to talking to ne'er-do-wells. Yeah, we just, so it's by his apartment, you'd say?
Yeah,
Yes.
he was outside. You can't miss him by the smell.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, always the dirty work, I guess.
Well, we could go together because the portrait and sculpture studio is right across the street.
Yeah, it
Oh,
doesn't hurt to have another set of eyes when you're looking for somebody that maybe doesn't want to be found.
also, there's this Aldebaran. Someone should look into.
That Albuquerque stuff that guy was talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think you could see Albuquerque from here, but what do I know?
Well, we got this telescope. Maybe we can.
Well, out in the garden, I did see a place where he put it out there. I'm assuming that's what that is. Those feet down there that you look like it's... I saw some markings on the pavers that look like that.
Oh, why don't we try tonight?
We definitely can.
I don't know what you're going to see up there, but what else do we got to do?
Amen.
And perhaps the soil might be similar to what we saw on those shoes, too.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I didn't see any footprints in mud or anything out there, but, I didn't go search around everywhere.
Okay, so night comes. You take the telescope out and set it up. Does anybody have astronomy at or greater than 38? I think Charlton was the only person I gave a really high astronomy to, relatively speaking.
I have accounting.
I do not.
No accounting. no
Yeah.
count. Let's see.
No, I do not.
Okay, so yeah, if you guys want to live, don't let Charlton get eaten. Okay, so then give me an astronomy roll, if you would, please, Charlton. 6.
Oh,
Good Lord, you guys are on fire tonight. I was like, oh man, I set these skills up way too high. It wouldn't have helped if I had gone broad and shallow. Okay, so yeah, you take it out there and you look at where David had it set up, and yeah, you take in some lovely vistas. There's Jupiter and its glorious rings, Saturn with its alien red spot that looks disturbingly like an eye. The white pinpoints in the Milky Way. Those are the major ones you can take in. But yeah, there's gas lamps in the garden that make it really, really hard to get the full effect here. But it is a nice show. It is lovely to look at stuff, and you can show other people. You can basically get something in focus and adjust the eyepiece and the focus, and then Jane, come over, and you look up and there it is. You'd heard of Saturn's rings, you'd seen artist impressions of it, but now you're actually looking at it. 8-inch telescope, and it is stunningly beautiful. It's really, when you think about it from your perspective, it's only the size of a pea, but the amount of detail you're getting is breathtaking. And you can all take turns doing that.
Excellent.
you must have spent a small fortune on this.
Yeah, this is an extremely. You're now exceptionally glad you did not try and go out the window with this.
So, what am I supposed to be looking at here? I see this dot thing. You guys see anything special?
Would Charlton be able to know what exactly he was looking for?
What you are looking for, or what David might have been looking for?
Well, what David was looking for. So we know it's the Aldebaran, but did he say like it's coming closer, it's getting further, it's changing color? Nope. Okay.
No. So it is a lovely evening spent stargazing as best you can. At one point, you're like, "Oh, if I just go just a few more minutes over," and then like you spend the next few minutes nursing a purple spot in the middle of your vision because that moved it, so it was pointing at one of the lamps in the garden. So you got an eyeball full of that. But other than that, David's dad even comes out. Like he has one of his his butler bring a tray and glasses and brandy out, and he takes a look in, and he's rubs his chin thoughtfully and says, "The firmament above. Perhaps there was something to it. Well, we'll discuss things when I see him again." It clearly moved him. He kind of strolls back to the house. You can see the glow of the tip of his cigar as he moves back, and you just kind of hear him mutter, "The firmament above." And I thank you. I thank you very much, Mr. Eagley. Calls you Mr. Eagley. He retires for the evening.
As do I.
Gents, there is one more thing. We also found this book. The Yellow King Tragedy in 2 acts.
Yes, The King in Yellow, a tragedy in 2 acts.
Well, perhaps that should be your study material for this evening, being a scientist and all.
I've got a bit of a purple spot in my eye. Anyone else want to take a look?
Oh, the purple spot's gone. You're fine.
I will study over the book tonight.
And he hands it over.
Philip takes it and starts, kind of looking through it.
It's written in standard. Now, you guys all have to forgive me this. I don't know what you would call it, but it's basically written in standard play notation. So and so enters stage left. Such and such stage forward, and just kind of glancing through it, it seems. There's nothing shocking. There's you do note that at the end there's costume notes, and it reminds you. You're an historian. Give me. I tell you what, this will be good for you. Give me. Come on. Yeah, give me a history roll.
All right. Here we go. Rolling for history. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes.
Yeah, it reminds you of late period Greece, perhaps with some Andalusian influence. The costume drawings. You're not sure where the engravings that were printed in the book might have originated, but there's two toga-like outfits. Both individuals are wearing masks, and there's a woman of Carcosa, a man of Carcosa. The next page, there's I'm trying to think of what the right word would be. Basically, someone who announces the arrival of someone in a court, whatever that term is.
A herald or something.
Thank you. The Herald of Carcosa, and give me a SAN roll, please, if you would. There.
My favorite part of the game.
Click.
Yeah, I had to break character. This is hilarious.
That's fine.
Hide the shotguns from me.
Okay.
Here we go.
38. So, yeah, curious. There is a woman. There's an engraving of a woman in rather elaborate outfit, and it's underneath that it says Casilda. That's the same name that's on the business card. Casilda.
I bring this up to anybody that's still in the room.
I'm in the room. Oh,
Okay.
That is the portrait and sculpture studio again.
Yeah.
Curious.
When? Look at the front of that and tell me when that was printed.
There's no publication information in it, none at all. Not a publisher's name, not an address, not a year. It literally has a title page, The King in Yellow, A Tragedy in 2 Acts, and you open it up, and it's the first page of dialogue.
Does it look worn? Like old?
I mean, it's got shelfware. Shelfware, very good plus.
The costumes that I noticed, would any of them, thinking back to history and how the planets were portrayed by early man, would any of the costumes dictate, like, if this one was a planet, this one was a planet?
That's a good question. I tell you what, let's have another history check on that.
Oh boy.
No, I mean, no, if they are, this is a really alien approach to it. There is one more engraving on the back. It's literally like the last page, the engraving, and then the inside of the back cover. It is a tall individual. You get like the impression that there's like a regal bearing, but the costume portrayed in the engraving is it seems very tattered, very disheveled, almost more like wrappings rather than, a toga, a cloak, something like that. There's a broad-brimmed hat, and the individual wears a mask. Sort of reminds you of a plague doctor. Doesn't kind of have the full beak to catch the drippings in it, but it's got kind of an elongate nose. The name underneath that is The King in Yellow. So,
other than the weird stuff, is it a pretty good play?
I mean, just leafing through it, you'd probably have to spend a good while reading it. It's about 90 pages. Yeah,
I'll spend the evening, giving it full attention to really get into the story.
Okay. And what do the rest of you do this evening? Your friends are retiring. Perry has already gone to bed. What about Charlton? What's he doing?
I think, after getting Philip's initial impressions of the book, he's going to bed too.
All right, and Dalton?
Yeah, I don't think there's much to do tonight. Just gonna find somewhere to sit down and try to think through my thoughts, see if I missed something.
Okay, and Jane?
I will also retire for the evening.
Okay. Pardon me, just a hot second here, guys. All right. Just a moment. Let me see. So, there are a number of names in the book, the Dramatis Personae. Aldonis, Camilla, Casilda, Castellan, Naltalba, Thale, Ect, the Child, the Stranger, and the King in Yellow. And I will provide that information to you. I'm not going to make you sit there and go through it. But you spend the evening reading through it. You're not initially sure what the implied tragedy is, but what you're able to ascertain as you read through this is that some kind of bargain to keep a plague out of a city called Carcosa that is located on the shores of a lake called Hali was struck long ago, and that bargain was not kept. And so a doom has been visited to a royal court, and madness gradually overtakes the people of the court, finally claiming she who broke the bargain, Casilda, at the very last. And when a cry goes up at midnight, and she looks around and she realizes that all of her court has vanished or been struck dead, she knows not which, she cries out, removes her masks, and tells the only other remaining person with her, the King in Yellow, that he should remove his mask. And the dialogue reads, "I wear no mask." And the last two lines are Casilda shrieking, "No mask! No mask!" And it just ends there. Give me a sanity roll, please.
One does not simply.
Oh no, Todd, did we lose you?
I am here. Hang on.
All right, that's fine. $49. Okay.
Which is just enough.
You lose a point of sand. This is odd. It's disturbing. The implications about the king, the lake, the mention of Aldebaran. It's all very, very unsettling, and it may just be that little shock that you just felt. You're overtired. I mean, you've read through 90 pages of dialogue, sitting next to an electric lamp. Going back and forth. Okay, the child is. So you, good night, RPG Grandma. Have a lovely evening. Thank you for hanging out with us. So, you have an uneasy sleep that night. You dream of a city shrouded in a golden twilight, but it's not comforting. It's an empty city. The click of your boot heels on ancient wet cobblestones echoes around you. Or perhaps it's approaching or departing footsteps. You're not sure. You sit up with a start as the sun weakly shines through, muttering, "No mask, no mask." and you realize that you're in bed in David's father's house, safe as you can be in Arkham. So, the evening progressed, or the day gets started. I'm sorry, the evening progressed. The day gets started. What do you all wish to do? I'm guessing you gather for breakfast again.
Indeed.
Sure.
I'm famished.
It's crepes, fruit, sour cream. This time the eggs are fried. A healthy rasher of bacon. And once again, you have missed Caesar, and he has again left a note. Please let me know as soon as you find David. I have much I wish to discuss with him.
Well, it seems clear his intent.
Okay.
What shall we do?
So Charlton, Philip, Dalton, Jane, you're all there. Philip, you're so tight. You were up to like it was well after midnight when you plowed through that thin volume. So you are good and tired right now. Vaughn wants sanity trackers next to the portraits. If only I had that degree of control over the ins and outs of Roll20. Or Roll20, good lord, of StreamYard. I'm sorry, everyone. So what are your plans, everyone?
I believe we had a plan to travel after breakfast back into the slums. Of course, back into the slums being subjective, as you were there and I was not. It is a bit beneath my station, but I shall go.
Okay. So are other people going with him?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna chat up a bum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go roll this guy's apartment.
And I tell you what, Dalton, as you do that, I will creep by the Emporium or whatever. Let's see what I see.
Yeah, if she gives you any lip, just whistle and I'll help you out.
Very well.
Okay, so you arrive. It's a weekday. There are people going about their business. There's the German fellow, the landlord of the place, a little bit better appointed than the last time you saw him. He's shaved. His suspenders are probably up, and he has a coat on, and he is sweeping off the stoop. He sees Charlton and Jane and says, "Oh, hello! It's good to see you again. Tell me, how is David?"
Well, we can't complain, sir. He's been very busy. We haven't been able to spend that much time with him. He's got that big conference coming up.
I see. Very important the work he must be doing. Listen,
Oh.
I must ask you, please, to ask him when he returns to straighten up his room. I don't like to have the dirty rooms. It is like a bookstore in there. And barely sweep.
Absolutely, sir.
He goes back to his sweeping.
Say, sir, have you seen that strange fellow that was here yesterday? The one who can't come back in?
Yeah. I found him sleeping on the doorstep. Can you believe the gall of him? I beat him with my broom. I sent him packing. I told him go and find some other disreputable place to sleep. For all I care, he can fall into the bay. There.
Some people.
I think I am going to put out a couple of pots of begonias out here when the weather is warm enough to liven the place up. It is a drab neighborhood. Well, I must be going. Have a wonderful day. And he goes in. What do you guys wish to do?
Well, I'll look at Mademoiselle Casilda's portraiture and sculpture once we approach that area where the two places are apart from each other.
All right. With the daylight shining through the window, it's got a big plate glass window on the front. There, you notice there's actually a small for rent sign down in the corner. But this place does look like it has been very recently occupied. There's a couple of easels, whatever is on the canvases you can't see because there are covers over them. There are completed paintings on the walls, a very antique style of painting. There's and likewise small sculptures set on pillars here and again. There's a chair, a very soft wingback chair that you would presume is for posing and so on. And then a little bit deeper in, you can see a door with office on it. Both of you guys, give me a spot hidden.
Which guys?
I'm sorry. Anyone who's over there at Mademoiselle Casilda's.
I'm outside, so okay.
All right. Well, I mean, they're outside as well, so.
Right. Then I'll run it.
That's a big fail for me.
Okay. So yeah, I mean it.
I roll 42 an awful lot.
Like the universe and everything, as they say. So looking in, yeah, there's like some dirty, grimy footprints in front of one of the easels. Like someone was standing there painting a lot, and they tracked dirt over to it. There's a little bit of the same sort of yellowish dirt here and there on the padded chair itself.
So this place looks like it's been. Does this place look like it's been closed down and non-operational for a while?
Let me see.
And also, is the private eye with us, or is he?
Yeah, he's right there. He was looking in. Let's see. Oh, come on. Had to get my. So Perry, You know what? This is going to sound odd, but give me a credit rating check.
Sounds reasonable to me. Oh.
No, it does not look like it's been shut down a really long time. There's not like a padlock that's been fixed onto it or anything like that. It just, looks like maybe it's closed right. In fact, and I should have mentioned this before, there is a sign in the window that says, "Sorry, but we are closed," next to the for rent sign, which is kind of odd.
I don't know what to make of this.
There is
people default all the time.
There is contact info on the for rent sign.
Well,
let's copy that.
You're the private dick.
Okay. I'm gonna look and see. I'm gonna look around the doorway. I want to see if I could figure out how long it's been since somebody's come in and out of this building.
Ooh, okay. So, let me see. I'm going to zoom you in there. My my character generation tool crashed on me today as I was attempting to print Kevin's character sheet out. So I actually have to use a screenshot that I took. I used the Windows screenshot tool to get it rather than have to go through the pain of recreating it. How long? Let's see.
Oh, I'll drop the sheet in. I've recreated it.
Oh, thank you. Excellent.
I'll drop the sheet in the private channel. I've added some backstory, so I don't know if you care.
Oh, I do. That's very helpful. Give me, I tell you what, give me a spot hidden roll.
All right. 52. I think it's 55.
No, your spot hidden is 50.
Yep, 50.
Yeah, no telling. She could have stepped out, or they, you don't know, could have stepped out for lunch and you guys just missed them. Or this place could have been shut up since before Christmas. You don't know.
Okay, well, while I'm over there looking, I want to pull a piece of my hair out, spit on my finger, and put it across the gap in the door. Stick
Burglar alarm.
At the
Gotcha.
top.
Okay.
Just so we know if it opens again. I think we should probably check this place out, but we probably don't want to go in this door. You guys up for that?
I'm happy to turn a blind eye and a deaf ear. I disavow any knowledge, of course.
So I'm going to look and see if there's an alley or is there a way to get back to the backside, or do you got to go all the way around the block?
You will at least have to go part of the way around the block. There's an alley about 6 or 8 establishments to the left. The other way, it's all the way to the end of the block.
Okay, so yeah, the buildings are stacked next to each other. There's no gap.
Correct.
Okay, I figured that. Yeah, take a walk around the block. I say, hey, you see anybody coming or notice anything, please whistle so I can get the hell out of here.
Okay.
And I go around to the back.
Okay.
I'll follow along looking at the ground while also using peripheral vision to, kind of scan the area behind him.
All right. What is Philip doing? What is Jane doing?
I will watch to make sure no one comes from the front.
Okay.
Philip is going to continue to eat his peanuts and chuckle at the two knuckleheads, but he'll keep a watch out.
Okay. Well, I think that is where we will end it, with the group sort of investigating. Now, next week, this will be Thursday night. The game will be Thursday night. I will be traveling out of town over the weekend, thanks in no small part to many of you folks. But we'll find out next week. What happened to David? What's going on? And what is the strange connection with the stars, the play The King in Yellow, and this art studio in Arkham, if indeed there is one? I want to thank my group of players tonight. Of course, Doomsword, Kevin, Yang, Safi, and how could we forget Todd? And thank you very much to the audience for being here. Now, I know normally these days I don't quite stream this long anymore, but I want to give the full experience. So each of these will be 3 hours long. Next week, Monday, we're rolling back in hot. Tuesday, of course, first edition AD&D. Wednesday, Kyle in Conflict. And then Thursday will be the last streaming day of the week with Call of Cthulhu. And then on the following week, a normal schedule, all the way out to Friday with episode 3 of Call of Cthulhu. So thank you everyone for being here. Big shout out and thanks to Vaughn for the super. We always appreciate it. Thank you to my audience out there, whether you're catching this later or what have you. And if you haven't already, guys, please click the subscribe button. Please click the bell icon for notifications. And we are going to go ahead and just wrap this up now. I'm going to bring this over here. And hey, check out the link below. We do have some merch now. We have some Tracy Lesh designed merch, and you should all pick some up. So peace, and I will see everyone next time. Good night.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me